And it was dead air for about 10 seconds there, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we're live.
No, normally I get the cue, but I messed this up, so
You got
that's
two
on
cues,
me.
Dip.
That's
Yeah.
funny because I didn't see the I didn't see the message, and I screwed the pooch. That's fine.
You dip.
We'll live.
No,
This
we
is
won't.
GameCorp. This is, at least according to maybe two people to listen to this, the one and only gaming podcast you will need. I am your host. My name is Matt Hedrick, and here with me, always insulting me and enjoying it, is Chad Porto. How are you, sir?
You dip. Also, we're not even. We don't even use this as the one and only podcast that we need. I find that funny. We're reviewing Bad Dudes this week, and you're going first because I have thoughts.
You didn't. And that
And-
tells me that doesn't tell me much. That's like an intriguing.
And also, I feel like you always just bogart my answers anyway, so.
No, not necessarily. The main reason I even picked it was because I've been playing a lot of the Evercade lately, and I happened to finish this game as well, and I had some thoughts. I had some honest thoughts on it too.
You mean
to be real, I'm not like.
You mean you finished the game that takes people less than a half an hour to beat? Flabbergasted.
Well, I didn't play it all in one sitting. Like, I would play it, and then I have to go do something, then I come back and play it. Like, it's not like I wanted to accomplish it all in one sitting. So.
I mean, I did. I mean, you could have. So we're jacking the video this week from Nintendo Complete. It's a more recent video. So, Matt, why don't we start with the graphics of two bad dudes that are named Blade and Stryker, and are given orders from Jim McMahon cosplaying Colonel Guile. Them's a lot of late 80s, early 90s references I'm not sure everyone's going to completely get, especially the Jim McMahon parts.
Does that get a 5 based on just concept of characters alone?
Got it. Concept of characters would be a great idea. If we had started doing it 2.5 years ago, I ain't changing now. Hit me with your graphics. Fire away.
Music references, nice. Okay.
All the references.
This is. I don't know. It's rather, to me, it's honestly rather straightforward. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on. I mean, you got the enemy types are all the same color, so there's not much variety in terms of that. The main characters, they're not very much different from themselves. Backgrounds are pretty standard and generic. It's nothing visually spectacular, and I think that has to do with making sure it performs well on the NES, especially considering this is a beat 'em up and they don't tend to always have the best frame rate on here. So I think they're trying to make it simplistic. And for that, I'd probably give it a 3.
I'm going to give it a 2. And here's why. There's a lot of clipping in the graphics.
Oh,
and it's very much like a Tiger Electronic game. And I'm sorry, I am not nostalgia whore for Nintendo because they Nintendo quite a bit. And this is one of those games where they may have just been better off either trying to do less or waiting. Because when did this come out? 90?
Yeah, it was early 90s, yeah.
They were better off just waiting until the SNES to try to do this. Because looking at all the phasing in and out of the ninjas, like, it's just like, no, this is dumb. This is dumb and bad and dumb.
Well, the performance really takes a hinder too when it's trying to do some more ambitious ideas with like level design, like even what we're looking at now with like the whole like riding on the back of a semi truck idea.
Yeah, it's an impressive idea, and it would have been better if they had waited a year.
Yeah, because what happens is that it doesn't really, with the clipping, a lot of times you want to make a jump or something and the jump won't register, and then you'll fall to the side, and it's like, this game was trying, but it maybe needed to skip a generation try the whatever one would follow, the Super Nintendo or something.
What'd you think about the sound?
God, the only thing I found really endearing about the sound is just, and it's more or less a cheesy thing. I don't really think it's quality. Is when you finish a level and they go like I'm bad. I find it funny, but it's not necessarily representative in how good it is actually. For the most part, it's pretty. Again, this is just relatively generic in terms of audio design. It gets the job done. It's a good tone for what it is, but it's nothing special. So I'm gonna have to say 3 again. This is average.
I'm gonna actually go with 4, personally.
Really?
Yes. Most of the sounds are bad, and even the "I'm bad," terrible. It was horrifying the first. I was like, what? What was that? But the second level's
sound, right?
yeah, the second level's music design, it sounded like they just took clips of like all the other better songs out on the market, but it really worked for me. I was vibing with it. I was like, yeah. And a lot of the songs aren't great, but some of them do hold up. And I, for one, always kind of more worry about the songs, while you worry more about the effects of such. But I think for me, the sound design for the music was good, especially that second level, because I was getting my groove on. You can't see it, but I'm doing like the little where you get your shoulders and you start like rolling your shoulders and you got your hands up and like they're kind of clenched and you're kind of just rolling with it.
They got you moving to the beat, huh?
So gameplay, Matthew.
It's very, very, very simple. Very straightforward. This is a beat 'em up, but I think with what I was saying earlier, what really hinders it in terms of gameplay is that clipping we were talking about. Because when you want a game like this to be responsive, every time you clip, you could possibly miss a hit or a jump and fall down to your death or something. So a lot of the times I kind of found it frustrating to play something like this when it's supposed to be moving faster than what the system can actually like perform at, And I think that's where I'm really held up on it. It's got some good gameplay to it, but I think the frame rate cannot hold up. And I know this is 8-bit, but even so, if you're trying this, got to make it function to a point. I just don't think it hits the mark on that for me. So I might go a little bit lower. I might go with the 2 on this one. Actually, I found it kind of mundane and boring.
I'll get to why, because this is kind of parlayed into the fun factor for me. But for me, I'm gonna give it a 3. I do wonder how much of a difference we had playing the game, because I played an emulator of the Nintendo port and you played it on the Faber Dreamwire or whatever it's called. So
Evercade.
I do wonder if there's a difference between what we played. But you
think they got a different ROM of it or something?
I don't know. That's why I said I don't know. Do you remember me saying 3 times, I don't know? I just fucking completely forgot that they had a goddamn what the hell is that game with the night where you're the knight and you have to go fight the dragon or like you fight demons and shit, but you can only get hit twice. What was that game called?
Are you talking about Ghosts and Goblins?
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about?
Like the fucking 4th level of the game is literally Ghosts and Goblins.
Like by design, it like completely.
Like not even just design. Like they slinked into the Ghosts and Goblins design cabinet, pulled out the level, and then like plugged it into theirs. Like they'll never know.
Especially it's very prevalent when this, because I believe this stage actually like shifts and moves as you go, and I think that was a part of it as well.
They fucking stole it. But yeah, the gameplay was enough that it worked for me. It's not so based in platforming that you need to be super fucking precise. So that for me wasn't an issue. Plus, you have like some sweet superpower moves that you can do every once in a while. So like it was fine. It was fine. those three. What'd you have for the fun factor? Oh, plus you got like weapons and shit, right?
Did they get weapons in here? I picked up. I only picked up some. I think the only one I ever really got was the knife. I think.
The knife is the only one
You
you
just
need.
do like a right. It was just a short little stab. Go much of a difference for me. I don't know. How much the gameplay was to me simple. I don't know. I would have had more fun with this if the focus was tightened up and it was a lot more straightforward with like how to go through a level. Like I understand that they want to make things different, have different ideas with stages, but when you're struggling to even get through a stage, much less hit the guys due to what is going on in the environment, it doesn't become fun anymore. It becomes a chore to even get through the stage itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, honestly, with fun factor, it's not bad. I say I'd have an average time with it, so I'd probably go with a 3.
I'm going to match your 3, mostly because I loved playing to get to the villains. The bosses of the level were actually really coolly designed. You had this giant mech one here in level 4, but in level 3 you had my favorite because at first you're like, oh, it's just some green ninja dork. And then he's like, now there's 6 of me. And I'm like, okay, cool. I killed all 5 of your fucking ninjas. What are you going to do now, motherfucker? Then he's like, there's another 6 of me. And I'm just sitting there going, okay, you fucker. Okay.
He's like, fuck you, I got your number, bitch.
Then I kill another 5. He goes, hey, guess what? I'm like, don't do it. And he's like, hey, I'm going to do it. I'm like, don't do it. He's like, I'm going to do it. I'm like, don't do it. He's like, okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm like, okay. Then he goes, I'm doing it. I'm like, no. And there's another goddamn 6 ninjas. And I'm like, I'm going to murder all of you. And he's like, that's kind of the point, dude. So then I murdered them all, and then I got to go to the next level. So yeah, this is fun. I enjoyed some of the boss fights. And the levels aren't that long to get to them.
Mm-hmm.
And
No.
the regular levels really aren't that difficult either. So like you can get there pretty quickly. You know, like I said, the game itself, you know, if you don't die and you're pretty efficient at it, you can beat it in 20 odd minutes. So finally, challenge.
It's pretty damn easy to play. There's not a whole lot. I mean, there's literally times where you can like glitch the system. Like I still remember the first boss fight where you could I don't know if it was like pausing, unpausing or something, but you could literally like just hang back and like do one attack to him and just keep repeating it over and over again until you killed him. There was a lot of games like that back then where you could literally glitch something out to get it to work in your favor. So when you think of things like that, it's relatively not that difficult. And honestly, that being said, I still say it's fair enough. So I probably would go with a 3.
I cannot agree. For me, the regular levels were more or less a gluttony of repetitiveness. Would you say the levels were a plethora of boring? Oh, yes, sí, El Guapo. I would say that it was a plethora of boring. Eamon? Yeah. What is a plethora? 3 amigos. You can skip the first hour and 20 minutes and just go to the point where they're looking for El Guapo's headquarters. That's when the movie just gets hilarious. Because they shoot the invisible traveler that's supposed to guide them to El Guapo's hideout. Like, the movie just decides to go fucking full on into its craziness. Oh, I appreciated it. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 2. So overall, what should we looking at, Holmes?
Well, man, I didn't.
Let's see.
Let's see.
That don't help. You just make things hard.
You asked me a fucking question.
I didn't ask
to be
you
fair,
anything.
The only thing I was pulling up was the score. I was pulling up the thing so I could write down the score. I wasn't even technically trying to help you.
I didn't ask
just thought
you
I was.
shit. I said Holmes. I don't refer to you as Holmes. I refer to the voices in my head as Holmes. I hear voices in my head. They talk to me. I understand. They talk to me. 16 out of 25.
So is that how you go through with therapy?
So it's the Randy Orton theme song. Get on board, bitch. 16 out of 25 for 64%. A playable game. Because that's how we do it. 60s, playable. 70s, recommendable. 80s, highly enjoyable. 90s, Hall of Fame, 100% best games ever. I think we only have like 2.
And they're the straight up obvious ones. I mean, come on.
I know one's Castlevania Symphony of the Night because I was going to stab you if you gave anything less than a 5. I think I was twirling a giant blade while we were recording that show. Like, all right, Matt, come on. Got this giant butcher's knife for a reason. Well, I think the music was only solid enough, so I'm going to give it a 3. I mean, 5, the best music ever? That's a boy.
To be fair, you're so far away. To be fair, at that point you weren't. You were still doing shows with me. So if you had the blade, I could have possibly been killed at that moment.
Yes. So rightfully you were concerned for your well-being. Fair enough. What was the other one? Was it Link to the Past?
Was Link to the Past one? I thought Metal Gear wasn't one, was it? I think it was like in the high 80s, right?
No, Metal Gear. Because even I love Metal Gear, but like, it's got its own issues. Like most of the girls I date.
I think it might have been Link to the Past, though. I think you might have been right on that.
Let's see. We have them right here listed. Castlevania, the last... Oh, we have 3. Last of Us 1. That won't be a repeat for 2. And Link to the Past. So Symphony of the Night, Last of Us, and Link to the Past. Oh, Last of Us 2. What did you do?
Have you actually even started playing it yet? Is that why you're saying this, or what?
No, the gameplay is fine. But
Okay.
I'm aware of all these story beats, and when you have a game that is so dependent on the story, all right, before we get into the rest of the shit, Last of Us 2 has a lot of detractors and a lot of defenders, and I watch Inside Gaming quite a bit from Rooster Teeth. Well, they got this dude. I forget his name. He's a Hispanic gentleman, and he's very much one of those guys that I like to find the good and the bad, and I hate those guys because they literally just exist to cause problems. And he's like, I like that Last of Us 2 didn't have a definitive ending, and I'm just sitting there going, huh? Because.
Oh, God.
For those who don't know, Last of Us 2, it's a revenge quest. And you don't even get to do the thing you set out to do. So the whole fucking game's pointless. And they're like, well, it's about the journey of forgiveness. Do you mind spoilers? Because if you do, I won't say anything, because I don't want to be a dick. But if you don't mind, I really need to say this. But I don't want to spoil it for you.
Oh, man. All I'm going to say is if it took 25 hours to get to the, for this journey, that's pointless. But
That's
I might
not what
just I was just listening to the other part. I might just tune you out on this and not pay attention. So you can go off on your tangent if you want. I'm just not going to
I'll send you a message on Skype because it's only going to take like 30 seconds. But I'll send you a message on Skype. So take your headphones off because I need to say this. It's going to take a minute, maybe tops.
Okay.
So I'm going to start talking in 3, 2. So in the game, Joel gets killed by a woman. Ellie then decides to go hunt down and kill the woman who killed Joel. Then Ellie doesn't kill the woman. And I'm sitting there going, listen, forgiveness is a wonderful thing if you break my favorite record. Forgiveness is a wonderful thing if you accidentally ding my car. Forgiveness is a wonderful thing if you go to the grocery store and you buy stadium mustard instead of yellow mustard. If you shoot the father figure surrogate that I've grown to love in the head, I'm not forgiving that. I'm going to kill you. That's a pretty fair human emotion, and it doesn't make Ellie somehow better because she found it in her heart to forgive. It makes her pretty wholly incomplete. fuck Last of Us 2. And that's why Matt is terrible.
I just got the message and I put the headphones back on. What? It took me like 3 seconds.
No, I was just hoping you'd hear it and wonder what I was saying about you. All right, you ready for useless news?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much used to you doing that at this point.
Remix. Now it's time for your useless news with your host, Ellie's dad, Matt Hedrick. And on Sports and Leisure, a clicker from the first game. And now it's time for your useless news.
That clicker decided to follow me. Now I'm scared.
Well, you're talking, so of course it is. You're not supposed to talk.
Apparently, I'm reporting this from the bunker because
no, that's
there's no human beings left on the planet, and I'm being followed by monsters.
Okay,
but this is your useless news, anyways.
So okay, you brought this up. So I went to bed last night. I got about 3.5 hours of sleep, and then I woke up because I had a nightmare. Do you want to know what that nightmare was? Because you're gonna laugh your ass off.
All right, let's go for it, man.
I was in the midst of a zombie outbreak. And I was in a group of 6 people. I don't know who the 6th person was, but he was a black gentleman who was in very flamboyant colors. And he saved my life. He saved my life and Tia and Tamara Mowry's life. I don't know why they were with me, but they were. The other 2 people that were with me were Elliot Stabler and his female partner from Law & Order SVU.
What the fuck are you on?
I don't know. I'm like
Law &
sitting
Order
there.
sister crossover. Never would have thought it.
I'm like sitting there going, what is going on? And like it's the 5 of us, and then like me and T and Tamara get away, and then like the other gentleman comes and saves us. I'm like, what is going on? And then I woke up and I'm like, what is going on? And I went and got McDonald's for breakfast.
What are they investigating the apocalypse or something?
Basically. I got McDonald's and I simmered down and I watched a few episodes of Bob's Burgers and then I went back to bed. Got up around 11, felt fully refreshed.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. I don't want to have your dreams. That's fucking crazy.
Right? Like, I don't even know how I got to there, but like...
Were you watching Sister at any point? Or
no,
are they just all in your head?
T and Tamara Mowry are my soulmates. And they may not know it yet. But I won't stop until one day they do. I don't even know why.
You gotta make this a reality.
Right? I'm gonna will it. Polygamy. Polygamy sisters.
Oh, what a name for a show.
Right? So, no, like, it was a weird-ass dream. And, like, I was on the air with Swish for, like, 3 hours last night or 3.5 hours. But, like, we only recorded 2.5 hours of it. The other, like, 40 minutes or so, we were just talking. And I'm like, okay, I'm tired. Like, we literally started at, like, 10:30-ish, and we got off around 2:45, and I'm just like, I'm fucking tired. Never fucking again. The show itself ran, like, 2.5 hours, and I cut, like, 10 minutes of it.
Jesus. Dude.
Yeah, it took 30 minutes to fucking upload. I was like, okay, this is a thing. Speaking of thing, IGN is back in the news for stealing shit that doesn't belong to them. Again.
Don't you love it?
Now listen, we outright steal footage for these games. We don't even pretend, but we also don't market the gameplay footage on anything. We just use it kind of as like, hey, if you're going to watch us live every Saturday night at 10-ish, 11-ish, we'll show you the gameplay footage on Twitch so that way you can have an idea what we're talking about. And if you don't, that's fine because it's the review that we're doing ourselves that transforms it. And the audio version, there's nothing there. Like when you download the podcast, there's nothing there. It's just our smart asses saying things. Well, my smart ass and Matt's dumb ass. So, like, IGN...
I resent that, but I understand.
You do this show with me voluntarily. You are a dumb ass.
The fact that I think of you as a friend makes me a dumb ass as well.
Exactly. See, you get it.
I get you, but I don't know if that's a good thing if I get you. I don't understand.
Well, even Hitler had Stalin for a while.
Not a good comparison.
Not a terrible one either. If sports athletes can do it and do a half-ass apology, why can't we? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we? I call dibs on Stalin.
Why can't we be friends? Because you hate me. What the hell fucking other reason would we have?
I will eventually need help when I take over the world.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. You're gonna employ me to that, Mister. Call me a dumbass. What am I gonna help you with? Be stupid?
The monkeys and penguins are gonna do most of the work. It's an animal uprising, you see.
What am I, the fall guy?
No, you're gonna be the foot bath guy.
Oh fuck that! I go nowhere near your feet. Fuck that shit.
I didn't say mine. Lord Admiral Apington of the Ape Army likes to have his cuticles done every hour on the hour.
You just imagine him over me with a club.
Why would he? He's a gorilla. Why would he need anything? He can rip a tree from the ground.
Or just tapping his hands together like, you better do it right, bitch.
He's not even doing that. He's just sitting there. He's summoning you with the finger, like, come hither.
Yes, sire. What do you desire?
Clean my cuticles. I will find
whatever
a way to
your
make,
wishes.
I will find a way to make the monkeys and penguins talk. It will happen. Matt, IGN is terrible and they need to go away.
Fair enough. I mean,
Sony invests $250 into Epic Games. $250?
$250. Yeah, $250. Yeah, that's all I invested. Yep.
Wait, what was the line from was it $350? Was that what was the line from
Tree
$350? That's right.
$350. Yep.
From Chef's dad.
Yeah.
Wait, what
it
was it?
About that time we saw the Loch Ness Monster.
And he asked me to give him $350. Listen, if the Loch Ness Monster asks you,
she gave him $1.
If the Loch Ness Monster asks you for $3.50, just give him the fucking $3.50. I don't see what the big deal is. So, PlayStation acquires a minority stake in Epic. Makes sense. Mm-hmm. I think this is logical because doesn't Epic have exclusive streaming rights to PC games?
Yes, they do.
Do they or do they not have their own game developer?
Epic Games?
Yes.
Epic Games, I believe, is a developer as far as I know. They were originally.
So it makes sense that you would get a developer on your side in the streaming wars. And I should point this out, with the launch of the PlayStation 5, and they're going with more streaming-based games, they may want a developer or a programming studio like Epic Games to help with their digital streaming. So like this move makes a lot of sense, especially considering Microsoft's just buying up everyone.
Yeah, Sony's got to make a move somewhere, right?
This is a big move. This is a good move. Epic and Sony are about to go all Super Saiyan merge. They're about to go Gotenks on this bitch.
Well, here's the interesting fact about this, though. As much as you want to say that with a $250 million investment, do you know what percentage it actually gets them in the company?
Like probably 5%.
Like more like 1%.
Well,
like I'm not even kidding. Like it was about, I think, Tencent, which has the biggest stake in them, I believe, at like 40%. They got them they spent $330 million on them a couple years back for 40%. So that just shows you how much growth they've had over the past few years. For Sony to pay $250 million and only get 1%. I think they're like $16-something billion worth now or something.
Well, hopefully they can buy them out one day and get Tencent out of there, because Tencent. I don't like being that guy who speaks negatively about foreign countries, because I'm not that guy. But China specifically, with the way they do business, should be someone that you're worried about. Tencent, when you think of TikTok, there's so much just data mining, just awful practices that go into their platforms and their apps and their just their whole setup. Like, you can't trust anything that has Chinese backing because the Chinese government does, in fact, intertwine itself into most of its companies, especially big companies. Like, TikTok's on the verge of being banned in the United States because of the data mining and the Chinese tactics that they use to copy information from profiles. So
I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah, it's fucking skeezy. So I don't trust Chinese developers or Chinese development apps or anything Chinese related at the moment because their regime is very much authoritarian, and like the things that are going on with just everything going on over there and with Taiwan, it's just fucking terrible. Right, Taiwan? Am I right about that? Hang on. Can't seem to remember the fucking. No, it's not Taiwan. Hang on. Square. Because there's a region of China that is technically sovereign from China, but also China. I forget what it's called. God, I feel like a dumbass. Like, it's on the tip of my goddamn tongue.
I honestly thought you were right when you said Taiwan, but that's all I would know. So
No, I'm pretty sure Taiwan is its own country. Beijing. That's what it is.
okay.
Beijing's like they're fucking with Beijing pretty hardcore. And there's been like protests and riots there for like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Beijing.
Oof.
Hang on. We're gonna Google something simpler. China protests. Hong Kong. God damn it. My global geography is terrible. I'm so sorry. I should know these things. Hong Kong is the independent state within China. It's on one of the I think it's like the southeastern border, and it was an autonomous state under the Chinese government for a long time. But now I think it's like the Hong Kong governor is attempting to turn the prefects over to China so that China can have autonomy over it, which the denizens of Hong Kong do not like at all. So there's been some pretty violent protests over the last year plus. So, don't do business with China. They the big terrible.
Would you consider Tencent to be on the same level of like them having their hand in every pot, kind of like similar to like Disney, or am I off base with that?
In regards to what philosophy?
Comparison. Not so much, I guess, in philosophy, other than just they kind of have their hand in the pot of like everything, kind of how Disney buys up pretty much everything you watch today around here. Are they kind of on a similar level like that?
A better one-to-one comparison for Tencent or for Disney, I should say, would be what Microsoft is doing. Microsoft is buying up these studios to not just own the property rights, but to own the studio as well and the developers within. That's what Disney does. They buy up the studios whole to get not just the rights to the products, but to also get the studios, the development, the equipment, the talent as well. Now, these individuals aren't forced to go with Disney when a purchase is made, just like they're not forced to go with Microsoft. But it does give these studios and outlets stability. Like Lucasfilms doesn't have to turn a profit for years if they don't, if they can't, and they won't go anywhere because Disney will still fund them, as long as they're eventually able to do something eventually. So, no, Tencent is kind of just buying up minority rights in a lot of properties to be able to profit off of a business model that they really should not be involved in. But, what are you going to do?
So two totally different philosophies then. Okay, just making sure.
Metacritic imposed delay on news reviews to prevent review bombing.
That's not going to happen. It's not. I'm sorry.
Listen, motherfuckers. You can try to delay anything you want to prevent review. It won't fucking matter. You want to know why?
No.
Because your haggerty asses are being phased out of existence. Twitter, Facebook, independent review websites, they don't need Metacritic. No one gives a fuck what Metacritic gives a game. The only people who ever reference a critic score is trying to win an argument. Oh, I see you don't like The Last Jedi, but I'm telling you, Rotten Tomatoes critic review gave it a 94. So clearly, it's an exceptional movie. Yeah, I got 1,068 tweets. I don't even need to vet. I just looked up Last Jedi, 168,000 tweets. They're all terrible tweets about how terrible the movie is. I win. But
Yeah,
you're
you don't need a general consensus for Rotten Tomatoes. You don't need that.
You're not looking at the critics. The critics are only relevant in the sense that it gives someone a basis to have an argument with. That's the only reason anyone ever does a review anymore. Because there was a time and a place when a critic review meant something. But when most critic reviews are owned by major companies, why the fuck would anyone like Rotten Tomatoes is owned by somebody? Let's bring this up. Rotten Tomatoes parent company. Fandango. Fandango owns Rotten Tomatoes. Fandango sells movie tickets. It is in Fandango's best interest to make sure that as many movies as possible get good reviews. Especially the big studio ones. But guess what? Fan reaction, fan reception, it'll always come through. And I hate to be that guy who points out that a game like Last of Us 2 will always live in infamy because of how blatantly promoted that it was. Matt, the things that Naughty Dog did with Last of Us 2's storyline is frankly offensive to the fans of the first game. They deliberately killed a character for the sake of killing the character. It didn't need to happen. It was a bad idea. And then they had the audacity to alter the trailers to make it seem like Joel was older than he was, to make you think that Joel had actually had a full, long life before he got. So it was deliberately done in a way that felt skeezy, and then it gives you a very unsatisfactory ending. And that's not something you can just go, oh, well, they're review bombing. No, you pissed off the fan base by going, well, we don't need to cater to the fans because they've already bought the game. It's like Kathleen Kennedy, the head of Lucasfilm, who literally said, we don't need to worry about the old fans. And that's why the new movie sucked. Because they pissed off every fan because most fans love all the movies and not just the ones that Disney made. So they're like, well, why don't people like the movies anymore? Well, because Kathleen Kennedy said fuck old fans, and then she said the force is female. And I'm just like, Kathleen Kennedy is going out of her way to antagonize a fan base. Honest to God, here's the thing. You can argue art with me all you want, but anything that is made for a profit is not art. It's consumption. It is a product. Your goal as a developer, as a filmmaker, as a writer, as a whatever, is to cater to your audience. If your audience has a specific viewpoint on something, fucking cater to it. If your audience likes a certain character, put them in everything. If your audience doesn't want their favorite characters killed off so you can make lesser impressive, static, one-dimensional, no one gives a fuck replacement characters, don't do it. Star Wars made that mistake. Last of Us 2 made that mistake. That franchise is dead. Last of Us is a dead franchise. It made a lot of money, and it got a lot of critic scores, and they'll probably have a third game. But the hype, the glory, the good old days of us going, oh my God, Last of Us was such a good game. Bye. It's a dead franchise. Because you've proven to us that you don't actually care about the fans. You care about subverting expectations. Oh my God, imagine me playing a game for a conclusion. I'm such an asshole.
Right? Like you want the story to come to an inevitable end because you want to be satisfied with not only what you purchased, but you've been investing in these characters for so long that you want to be satisfied with where they go. You want to see where they end up, and you can't do that when these people want to take a let's just put it in air quotes, make a creative decision and take a different turn with it. That's where it becomes bullshit.
I can't get no. I can't get no. I can't get no satisfaction.
And the thing that bothers me the most, especially with how you're saying this, is that fans are the reasons why these franchises are as successful as they are to begin with. 100%. So when you don't cater to, like, when fans of like Star Wars and Last of Us, they're the reason why these franchises are successful to begin with. So if you're not listening to them and trying to adapt to what they're saying about their franchises, they're not going to go after that stuff anymore. They'll still buy it, because it's new to them, but if you're not satisfying what they are doing, what they're asking, why even make this shit anymore? Other than the obvious reason, money. I mean,
so it's kind of that mindset. Like, if you want to do something avant-garde, which means kind of out of the ordinary, that's fine. Like, I don't need you to make the same thing over and over again as a creator. Like, if you're Metallica, I will give you leeway to make Saint Anger, as long as you eventually come back with Death Magnetic. But when you're a brand, when you're the Star Wars brand, you don't get to have quote-unquote creative license. Because, bitch, it ain't your brand. And I think that's the thing that people get lost with. Like, when it comes to, like, Marvel movies or Disney movies, when you have someone take the reins creatively from someone else, it's not yours to change. So I get very upset when I see people go, entitled fans. You're goddamn right I'm entitled. I'm paying $60 for a game that doesn't have an ending. I'm paying $20 for a movie ticket that subverted my expectations of seeing characters I love for the first time in 40 fucking years get a chance to stretch their legs on screen. You're goddamn right I'm entitled, because I'm fucking paying for it. And turns out, when you pay for something, you get to be entitled. Imagine the audacity. You pay a guy to redesign your home, and you walk in, and you're like, I want a modern, I want no walls, or an open concept. That's the term I'm looking for. I want a modern open concept kitchen. And he comes back with an 1895, stove oven and brickwork. Well, I was trying to subvert your expectations. Motherfucker, I didn't pay to subvert my expectations. I paid for what I asked for. When I want Last of Us 2, I don't want to just play as Ellie and then some random chick. I want to play as Joel. And if you, like, it'd be like doing Uncharted, like an actual full-length Uncharted game, not a DLC, a full-length Uncharted game, and then being like, oh, guess what? You don't get to play as Nathan Drake. That's why I'm not a big fan of Metal Gear Solid 3 or 5, because you don't get to play as Solid Snake at any point. Now, people will be like, well, you don't get to play as him in 2. Yes, you do, just not for that long. And truth be told, that kind of bums me out, but you still get a good hour and a half with Solid Snake. So that's still better. So
imagine playing God of War without Kratos.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? Like, who would want to fucking do that?
Brand. You have a name brand now. Now, if your name brand, like if you make Call of Duty and you instantly go to a completely different story in Call of Duty, okay, that's your name brand. That's what you do. We don't get sequels in Call of Duty. So when they did Modern Warfare, I was like, what the fuck? Why? But even then, you had 2 arcing stories in each game, and each secondary story was with a new character. So when you look at Last of Us 2 and you're like, oh, here's Joel and here's Ellie, and you're going to get to play as Ellie, and you're going to get to interact with Joel this time. It's going to be a game about you guys figuring out how to deal with the ramifications of the first game. I'm like, yeah, I'm in, and then Joel dies. And I'm like, wait, what? Ha! At the end, 4 minutes into the game, okay, this is not good. You fuck with fans like that, and fans are going to be pissed. It's like saying, hey, you want to come to my house for a filet mignon, grade A chef quality dinner, and then you give them a fucking Hungry Man meal, and you're like, eat up, bitch.
The fact that all this talk is going on about this, man, makes me kind of tentative to play the game in general. Because I've had it here for a little bit. I've played a lot of other stuff, and it's like, do I even want to play it now? Like, is it even worth investing into it now that I've heard a lot of this stuff? I mean, it's kind of feels like it's not worth it anymore.
And that's honestly how I feel about it. Now, the gameplay itself, I hear still good things about. And let's be honest, as much as the story may suck, they don't do bad games. You know, like in terms of like structure wise, like the actual ability within the game. But anyone who wants to play just a bare bones gameplay game, like, man, like, go play fucking Galaga, right? Like, go play Mario Brothers.
Right.
You're playing these games for the cinematic aspect. You're playing it for the voice acting. You're playing it for, you know, the storylines. You're playing it for the character growth. You're not just playing it because you done do the shooting good. No. So you have to be more than just disc game flawless play. You got to do everything else. Now, let me really go into this one for a second. There is no reason to be sending people death threats, ever.
No. Oh, I heard about that. Oh, that's
Laura
terrible.
Bailey.
I've heard about this.
Done nothing to warn it. Even the developers of the game, even the writers of the game, who are like, let's kill off Joel. They're dumbasses, but why are you threatening to kill them? Like, don't be fucking stupid. You want to make it hurt? You want to make them pay for their indiscretions against you? Don't buy the fucking third one then.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. Let them people know. Like, don't pay with your fucking wallet. Like, you know, just fucking like, nah, dog.
That makes more of an impact than anything, and you're not going to go to jail for doing something stupid,
right? And you don't need and you're not going to cause someone grievously unnecessary stressless nights because you need to find a way to cope with your anger. Now, it's all right to be angry. You're allowed to be upset, but there's a reasonable expectation of responsibility with emotions. If you cannot handle your anger, you need to not get angry. I don't have a problem with my anger. My frustration boils over, and and I turn into funny rant guy. I don't go, lol, I'ma kill you because you did the thing I didn't like. No, I'm gonna bitch about you for 10 minutes, and then I'm good. I got out of my system. I'm fine.
You put it towards something useful and effective that helps you cope with it. That's a positive thing to do with it.
Hilarious mocking. The most useful of dealing with stress. All right, fuck this game.
I gotta be real. Like, even after everything I've heard about this game, I'm looking more forward to playing Ghost of Tsushima that comes out this week than playing that first than playing this. Honestly,
I cannot wait to see what Ghost of Tsushima ends up being like. That game has been widely hyped, and then it was like, still, even though it's coming out in 4 days, I'm not hearing anything about it. Like, I finally saw the first commercial for it. So either they're not marketing it to the Western audience, which is fine, or it's not a good game. So I'm concerned, man.
I'm hoping it's the first one you said. I'm really hoping that.
And it's very possible that it is. You know, not a lot of white boys want to play as a samurai. I do.
Me too.
Right?
Can't lie about it.
I want to hack some shit up.
Exactly, because some of the mechanics they show you there look pretty badass, and I can't wait to try them.
But most of the time, we get these hype games, and they end up being shit. So, speaking of swords, Switch game final, sword removed. Who wrote this headline? Switch game final, sword removed from Japanese eShop for using Legend of Zelda music.
The game was actually called
Final Sword. Okay.
Yep.
Video game, quote, Final Sword, single quote, I should say, removed from Japanese eShop for using Legend of Zelda music.
It was using the Zelda's Lullaby that I believe it's like I won't quote it because I don't know exactly how to say it. There you go. Just like blatantly as you're walking through the world, you just hear it clear as day, and Nintendo was like, "Nope, we're gonna pull that." And
hang on, Matt.
To put hang on. Game.
Breaking news: Nintendo has just pulled our stream from me doing the Zelda's Lullaby. So we're done.
Oh crap! Oh, we're off the air now. Oh yeah,
podcast canceled.
Word was all around. Yep, there we go.
Finally, we're canceled. I don't have to do the show anymore.
You threw yourself so deep at Nintendo. You're like, Nintendo, please save me. You might as well just start going, it's me, Mario.
It's me. No. Why would you do that to me? I almost made myself into a racist stereotype.
You went for it too. That was the scary part.
I know, but you set me
I
up.
thought you.
I'm like a dog, man. You can't wave a bone in front of my face. I will go for it. It's instead of a bone, it's like a bit.
God.
If you wave a bit in front of my face, I'm gonna try to do it.
Your biggest racist stereotype that you hate the most, you were just about to lovingly embrace it with open arms.
It's a me,
I'm really
racial
scared.
stereotype. Okay, so this one's interesting, but it's also the last news story, so yay. Twitch pulls the Black Lives Matter video after criticism from black creators. So here's the thing that I always love. I try to stay out of social conflicts because they're never as simply put as people wanted to believe. They're nuanced and complicated, and no one, whether you're pro or against, no one likes to have that conversation.
No.
No one likes
It's scary.
No one likes to be told that yes, you're partly right and you're partly wrong. No one likes to be told that. They either need to be all right or always right. And I'm always like, well, no one's always right. I mean, I am, but like, I'm the exception. So I try not to get into these kinds of conversations. But I will say this: if you're making a video for pizza lovers and all you do is show people who own chicken restaurants, I'm gonna go, what was the point of that? So if you're trying to do a Black Lives Matter video and you don't have many of the Black Lives that create your content in that video, I'm going to go, what was that?
Yeah, what message are you actually sending here?
I'm just saying, like, you don't even need to support the movement. You don't need to be anti the movement. I'm literally just saying, I will not make a video highlighting my love of football by using soccer highlights. What? Come play the NFL where we throw pigskins 45 yards for touchdowns. And then you show fucking Cristiano Ronaldo headbutting a ball into the fucking goal. Like, did you hear anything I just fucking said? Come watch the NBA and it's Chinese ping pong. Like, what? What are you doing? My name's Zing Wing Hao, and I love the NBA, and I'm a pro ping pong player. You couldn't
because
even
that sentence has been uttered so many times.
You couldn't even have gotten a Chinese basketball player to do this? Really?
Oh my, yeah. At least be consistent, man. Come on.
But like, this isn't new. It's an Amazon-owned property. Jeff Bezos is a piece of shit. Like, there is zero shock to this news story. My dream of hanging out with Benson and Stabler and macking on the Tea and Tamara during a zombie apocalypse, that made more sense than this.
And that should tell you something right there.
But this was more expected than my dream.
Oh God.
So it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I
It's
personally don't
dumb.
get invested in. I don't get invested in this stuff either because it's that thing of nobody really wants to actually talk about things like this. All they want to do is, like you said, just they have to be right or that's it. You know, and I can't sit here and invest in that if you're not going to have a real conversation. It just doesn't make sense to me.
And to be fair, Matt's patience is worn out every Saturday night when he does the show. So like, even if he wanted to, he wouldn't have the ability to because I would just be that guy. And again, this is not a pro or anti stance of anything. What we're saying is these kinds of movements do not really allow for a lot of leeway in conversations, whether you're for or against. So I think it's very imperative that you realize that this is not an endorsement or a slight or a criticism against or for anything. Right. All I know is I got some friends who ain't white, and I want them to be okay in this world. Take that for whatever it's worth. I'm not so fond of Matt, so like fuck him. But like everyone else, I'm pretty tight with.
You throw all the hatred at me, man, and I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not gonna throw hatred back at you because I don't have a lot of friends in this world, and I guess I would take the ones that insult me as the ones that are actually my friends. So as twisted as that sounds, that's how I see it.
To be fair, I've never actually done anything wrong because I only ever do this for a bit. I gotta clean my water bottle. That's so gross. Oh well, still gonna drink it.
The only thing you ever do is kind of batter and bruise my self-esteem, but to be fair, it wasn't much there to begin with.
I don't actually bruise your self-esteem. Because when you started your weight loss gain, I've never said anything negative about it. I've been quite your champion. And you know
It's been kind of at the plateau. It's been kind of at the plateau at this point. I'm kind of peaked. I just kind of keeping a steady diet at this point.
Well, and that's the thing that you're going to find out with any type of diet or exercise, that you will eventually hit plateaus, and either you push through and see if continuing it will continue the results you want, or you're going to have to modify it to increase results. But then again, you've lost, what, nearly 100 pounds?
Last time I weighed myself, I was 170 pounds. And that's about 110 pounds I lost.
You're fucking 30 pounds lighter than me, motherfucker. Then again, I'm as wide as I am tall, so like it's hard for me to lose weight because I'm only 5'5", but I am 5'5" wide as well, so I am awkwardly built. I got the broadest shoulders in the room.
Better.
I got the broadest shoulders in the room, but I always walk underneath the goddamn limbo bar.
That could be much of a hit at parties then, I guess.
Well, I'm a hit with the ladies because I'm a fucking charmer. I'm from the old school charm. You want to fuck? 30% of the time, it works 0% of the time.
You want to fuck? Want to fuck what? What are you talking about?
I'll fuck with you, fucking hobbit-ass looking bitch. Aww. You just see my, like they're like filming like a fucking wedding. You see this hot chick stride by, and you just see my head bouncing on the bottom of the fucking video screen as I fucking walk by.
Just walking behind her, my precious.
Fuck you! I'm like a half inch shorter than you. If I'm fucking Gollum, you're fucking Samwise Gamgee. You. Wait, no, he's got hair. Never mind.
Hey, I'm just rolling with the Hobbit theme, man. That's all I'm going with.
You could have called me fucking Frodo. You could have even called me Gimli. God, gotta go with the ugliest motherfucker of the group. So
you call me ugly all the time. Fair enough.
I don't call you ugly. I call you unlovable. There's a difference.
They do tend to go together, I believe.
No, because there's a lot of attractive people that are very unlovable. Like me.
Well, that's just because you're insane.
I'm so lonely.
Are you going to stay that way?
Probably. People don't like honesty in 2020.
They don't like them before, but especially now.
Right? So let's do YouTube channel. Woo! YouTubes!
Yay!
So, Mr. Nightmare, one of my favorite YouTubers, he's a horror spooky ooky YouTuber. Did 13 of the creepiest Craigslist ads. And Matt, I'm telling you, number one will make you shudder in horror. Bro, it's weird. It's fucking weird. Amanda the Jedi reviewed Last of Us 2. I have not watched it because I don't know how I'm going to feel about her review. But I love her. So if you want to hear her opinions on it, go and check it out. She calls it beautifully. Yep, that's right, beautifully. She calls it beautifully flawed, though. So I think she at least has her observation goggles on. Sci-Fi Wire did another great Warp Factor review, this time of Star Trek Voyager Pathfinder. So if you ever wanted to just hear what Pathfinder's about or Star Trek in general, Sci-Fi Wire does a really great entry point for a lot of new fans. And the host of the series, I forget his name, does a really great job showing his love of it and talking about details that maybe you missed or didn't know. The Crusher watch is still somewhat annoying, but I find him very endearing. It's like I'm willing to take the suck, if that makes any sense. Like, it's the one thing. Oh, by the by, you didn't even mention that Ninja might be streaming on YouTube now. Like, that could have been like a whole thing. I don't
even know like it was a fully I don't even know if it was like a fully confirmed story though, because it was just kind of like being thrown around, you know.
True. Mr. Creeps 2 posted a pretty good one of 4 stories about lockdown 4 true lockdown scary stories. Check those out. Let's see what else we got. Scrolling through. Oh, I saw some cool tiny houses. Living Big in a Tiny World had a pretty good one. Let me see. Where was the other one? I think I'm gonna follow this other channel, but he's only doing like what is it? Like Airbnb reviews, but he does exclusive like tiny house or obscure living houses for his reviews, so they're pretty cool. The guy's name is Levi Kelly, and like this tiny house, Matt, is the one that I'm gonna get. Like whenever I decide to finally buy a plot of land and get this fucking house, like this is the house I'm gonna make. Cause like they build the bed on the first floor with like a sliding door and a wall. I'm like, yeah, buddy, that's how I would do it. That's how
Tiny house. Is that just literally the term? It's just a small house, or is it?
No, it's dead on.
Okay.
Usually it's built on like a small trailer, and it's big enough to have a kitchen, a bathroom, a living room, and a bedroom. But usually the bedroom is more of a loft, and it's built above everything. Go check out Living Big in a Tiny World. That's a pretty good one. The guy's name is Bryce. He does a lot from all over the country, and he also doesn't. He shows like other alternative housing ideas, like people who've turned like old school vans, not school vans. What the fuck am I? I'm not British. School buses. There we go.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, some guys turned old school buses or like double-decker buses into mobile apartments, essentially, and they're very cool. They're very inexpensive, and the only problem is like in like Europe and Australia, and New Zealand, there's governments are more aware of how to zone and license these things out. So like they're, you could buy a plot of land and put it on and not even worry about it, but that's still a bit of an issue in the United States. So it's a little bit harder depending on the state you're in to have a tiny home as your permanent home, but. That's my goal, because I would build like a big ass fucking deck, and like all like the tiny home on its own, built to standard and everything, is like 15 to 20 grand, and then like you get some like fucking solar energy, some solar panels on top of that bitch, or like out in a little garden area, and you don't have to pay for shit anymore. It's fucking awesome. Pay off the house and you're living debt free. Just build up your credit buying porn. Yeah.
I'm so lonely.
Oh no, the porn's for the parties.
Porn parties.
Yes.
I love those.
I didn't watch What Happened with Demon Souls because I'm pretty sure it's going to be developer issues, time restraints, money loss. So fuck it. The Punk Rock MBA did a really good one. Bands that changed their sound and fell off. I made the reference, and actually this is the reason why I made that reference tonight. The reference of Metallica changing to Saint Anger and then going to changing their sound again when they released Death Magnetic. I really liked both albums, but I do agree that people who didn't have a right to not like Saint Anger because they tried a brand new sound for that album. I liked it, and I even said like if it wasn't Metallica, everyone would think this was a great album. But Metallica has a brand. They really changed that brand. They go into details in this video and also talk about some other ones as well. He does really great work. He's a phenomenal creator. His taste in music isn't always the best though, because he likes all that screamo shit. Fuck that noise. Let's see. I didn't see Crime Peanut critiques, although I don't know how he landed her as a wife, so I'd like to. She's gorgeous. How good was Frank Shamrock actually by Kian Kamara? I've talked about him last week. He's a really fucking good content creator, especially if you're a fan of MMA. So I would definitely check that out. Let's see. 8 teams. That was a good video, but now we're talking about. Ooh, Sci-Fi Wired posted a tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills video. Everything you ever want to know. Fuck? Yeah, everything you ever wanted to know about the worst Power Ranger ripoff. It's fantastic.
I didn't even know it was a thing. What the fuck?
It aired on the USA Network for a while. Tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills.
Oh God.
It's legit. Too legit. Too legit to quit.
Hey.
Mr. Nightmare posted 3 true summertime horror stories. It was all right, not the best. I think the earlier ones I talked about were pretty damn good. That one was okay, just not great. Although he does do, like, he is my favorite creator because he does really good stories. They're true stories, but stories nonetheless. I think that's it for me, Matt. What do you got?
As far as the big ones go this week, the biggest one I would say was Caddy doing his video on bad Crash Bandicoot games.
You mean all of them?
According to you, yes, but more or less the ones that are just like the spin-off ideas of Crash themselves, like trying to elaborate on some of the things he's already done. I found it funny that he's actually gone as far as trying to marry the brick wall this time.
That was good. I like that.
I'll offer you, Barbara. But I don't know. I kind of wish he would start going back to like 20-minute videos, you know, 20, 30 minutes, something like that. Because I think I'm getting a little burnt out on the 45-minute like ramblings of stuff. I'm sure there's a lot to cover, but maybe tighten it up and only focus on maybe a few games a little more in depth instead of just doing a whole plethora of all of them. Like, probably would be better. Still good video though. Let's see. What was it? Other than that, Limited Run actually had their. They tried to have a E3 type of presentation this week. They showcased a few games that are gonna get physical releases. One of which I'm very excited for, and that's the recent Bloodstain game that just came out. That's gonna get a physical release this year, so I'm looking forward to that. That was a good presentation. I did actually watch the Demon Souls What Happened, and yeah, the only thing I could say was it was a game that nobody really wanted it to be successful. It was always kind of shunned and put aside. It was actually supposed to be like a competitor to the Elder Scrolls series or something like that, and the creator decided to go a whole different route. But other than that, yeah, same old telling, as like you were saying before. Scott the Woz actually did a pretty interesting comparison of this generation of consoles between the 360 and PS3. That's a good video if anybody's interested in that. Got a little more updates about Retromania Wrestling. Literally, that one update is like, "What's the release date?" And he goes, "When it's done." I swear to God, I just get Duke Nukem vibes hearing that. But I understand. And then a developer's vlog, just going over some recent updates for how far along they are. And it seems like it seems like they're gonna get to the August release date that they're talking about, because it doesn't seem like he's got much more to say, because the videos have gotten shorter over time. Like they used to be like 10, 11 minutes long, and now he's cutting it to like 5 or 6. So that's telling me they're really hitting crunch time. But other than that, no, it was a rather like slow week, and I got updates today, but I haven't watched any of the videos yet. Those will be in the next week, so that's about it for me.
I got 3 more. I forgot.
Okay.
Mr. Creeps did another horror video. This one was really good. The 4 True Snapchat Horror Stories. That one had some freakiness. Sorry, I have 4 more. They did One Championship, which is an MMA promotion out of Beijing. No, not Beijing. Singapore. They did a great little video looking at 2 great masters of karate. Sage Northcutt, who has, I think, like 23 national championships in various karate tournaments. And Chuck Norris, who, if you don't know this, was actually a karate competitor in the 60s and 70s. So they're like, if Chuck Norris and Sage Northcutt at their peaks fought, who would win? It's real fast video, 4 minutes long, pretty cool stuff. It's One Championship's official YouTube page. I forgot that the Punk Rock MBA did a second video this week, which is out of the ordinary. This one's called Racism in Metal, and basically he gives the platform to a guy by the name of Mike Seatown. He was a black metal fan, and maybe he's a black metal band member. I don't remember what it was, but he's very maybe he's even like a black metal YouTuber. I don't remember what he is, but he talked about in depth like what it's like to be a black dude in metal or rock in general as a fan. And honestly, my heart goes out to that dude. Watch that video.
That sounds interesting.
It's very informative. It's nothing I don't already know about, because I spent a decade doing rock concerts and all sorts of other concerts in terms of like private security. So like I know this shit exists, but to hear someone actually say it on such a big platform was very, very interesting. And also, Ill Will Press put out their Idiots, their Squirrels and Robots podcast, Idiots Animal Crossing update, reboots, and Foamy the Squirrel, the movie. It's very fun. It was a very good episode this week. Go check it out. We don't know what's going on for next week yet, so stay tuned. We will not update you. We never do. You tune in the show, you see the headline, that's when you know what the game we're reviewing.
Yeah, we're kind of vague like that.
We're super fucking vague. It's the mystery box of terribleness. RealNerdCorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. We're also on Podbean, Spotify, and iTunes at either RealNerdCorp.podbean.com or by searching iTunes and Spotify for NerdCorp, NERDCORP. You can listen to Making an Impact, Wrestling Underground, ComicCorp, the Ohio Guys podcast, and, of course, this one, GameCorp. You can also find us on our Twitches at twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp to hear this show and ComicCorp and Ohio Guys. If you want to hear us talk about wrestling, go to twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground. We record Sunday through Saturday. Actually, no, we record Tuesday through Sunday. That's the accurate time frame. I get one day off from you bitches. Monday night. So go check those out as well. Subscribe if you want. I don't really, we're going to do this whether you do or not.
We have to get this off our chest anyway.
Yep. Matt, what are your personals?
You can find me on Twitter at mnerdcorp and the same handle on Twitch.
You can find me on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. That's once again RealNerdCorp.com. Twitter's NERDCORP. Instagram is RealNerdCorp. That's all we got for this week. Matt, unless you have anything else, I will say goodnight because you always fuck the outro.
I just want to thank everybody for listening. I got a couple articles coming this way. I'm going to do pretty much an all remastered edition of what I've been playing. Also look at the Evercade. And other than that, we'll stay tuned for next week, and we'll be vague about what we're going to release. We'll see you next time.
Good.